live here in just a moment.
Okay.
Did you find the agenda, Dave?
Yes, let me. Download.
You gonna share it, Dave?
Yes, give me a minute. Make sure this is the right one. Here. Everyone see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. We ready to go, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the Oberlin School District Board of Education meeting for August 26, 2020. Call to order.
Miss Amrick?
Ameka?
Ameka? Sorry.
Yes, it's a Mecca here.
Ameka. I get it. Dr. Regis?
Here.
Dr. Stanley?
Here.
Ms. Sham?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Adoption of agenda for this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Oh, that was for the previous one. Call the roll.
Miss Ameka?
Yay.
Dr. Regis?
Yes.
Dr. Stanley?
Yes.
Ms. Sham?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes. Okay, adoption, we adopted that. Call the roll.
I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hall for the questions that were submitted.
Yes, okay, oh, okay, yeah. Brain fart.
Okay, we're a team.
Public input on agenda items through Google document. You can turn it over to Dr. Hall to answer questions that were submitted.
We got about 11 questions submitted. I'll go down the list of 11, and also will respond individually back to everyone that responded to the questions as well. First question was, I have several questions about the 3 reset and restart plan level designations. When will the district have a decision about which level plan the schools will be operating under at the start of school year? Answer that, we'll make a decision on July the 29th. She'll be coming out tomorrow after we discuss all the information today. The district wanted to make an informed decision based on the state of COVID-19 impacting Oberlin, parent and staff survey data, and state and local recommendations. Question 2, the specific criteria and metrics will be used in determining if the plan level should alter mid-year. The district will analyze the same data. We'll provide our school community with another survey in mid-year, so we'll administer one to see how the current plan is going. We'll utilize the health department and monitor how COVID-19 is impacting the district and also our school community. Question 3, is the district considering having different schools operating at different plan levels, given the significant differences in both COVID-19 transmission risk and the importance of in-person instruction in elementary age children versus high school age children? The district currently are analyzing all options. The plan will change in August or September based on federal, state, and local mandates and requirements. The best we possibly can do is get ready for a plan, and it may change mid-year based upon the information that we have. This information is constantly changing, so we'll adapt according to the information that we have at the time. Can students wear their own masks or just the ones provided by the district? Students can wear their own masks. It will have to be school appropriate, safe, and meet the health department safety guidelines. The sub situation in Oberlin City Schools has been less than ideal for the last few years, causing many teachers to cover other classes and subs to shuffle between classes throughout the day. Right now, Elyria City Schools typically has 100 subs on their list, and right now, they're only 14 due to COVID concerns. So will we have enough subs for the district? The district will hire 5 building substitutes for this school year to help out with support. They will engage professional development with teachers at the building of the school year, or at the beginning of the school year. We'll provide them with PPE equipment once they enter in the building. We'll continue to recruit substitutes throughout the school year like we always do. With CMSD going on virtual, we may have an opportunity to recruit substitute teachers from the Cleveland area as well. So we'll aggressively continue searching for additional subs, and we'll call our subs and see which ones are coming back, and also provide them information that we will have PPE equipment for them, and they will engage in training prior to the school year. For the last 2 years of my classroom at Langston, my floor has been only been vacuumed twice a week and the garbage emptied daily. This was the extent of my room being clean after school hours. Additionally, the desks were only cleaned when I cleaned them with Clorox wipes. How will the district ensure that proper cleaning protocols are completed each night? The district is working very closely with OPSI unions to develop a cleaning plan for the district. The plan will involve clear expectations for cleaning for all cleaners, all staff, all maintenance personnel, all custodians as well. And we understand the severity of it, and they will engage through training through the health department. We provide additional cleaning support if needed at night for cleaning. However, we want to work with the union to analyze staffing per building to see if we need additional cleaners. Some buildings may have 2 night cleaners, some may have 1. So we analyze all the staffing to make sure we have enough support to clean properly in the buildings. Teachers, this probably sound like from a teacher, our staff member. Any concerns, please address them with your building principal. We'll make sure we get on top of it as soon as possible. Last week, William Bayless and Sue Ellick had a presentation on distant learning. How does district plan to determine the level of education 1, 2, and 3 if it does not correlate to the state public emergency levels? Also, how are teachers being supported for a level 2 plan hybrid model? We have great teachers within our district. We'll work with our teachers to determine how to deliver e-learning. We had about over 30 individuals help develop their plans, 1, 2, and 3 level. They all had valuable input. We actually signed an MOU with the union that they have to collaborate with us on developing these plans. The educational team will include grade level. We will assign educational teams to determine this. The educational team will include grade level teachers, administrators, counselors to determine a plan. If a child wants to do e-learning, that may look different from one grade level to the next. For example, we may have 20 students in 6th grade that like to do e-learning. So that grade level team together, an educational team would say, okay, fine, let's designate a teacher for that. Or you may have 4 or 5 students that's doing e-learning. So that educational team may say, let's bring those kids into the classroom. Those things haven't been determined yet, and we will work with our teachers union to fine tune that piece. But we definitely want the collaboration and input from the teachers to develop that plan. E-learning will incorporate face-to-face live instruction. So we want our regular core teachers to provide that instruction at grade level for all of our students. So that team will get together at grade level and we'll talk to them more about how to deliver the best instruction for that student. Do you plan to have additional staff in each room to support the teachers? If needed, we'll have additional staff as well if needed. We're hoping to have additional professional development for our staff to learn how to provide us support and assistance in e-learning. How will the district handle quarantine, contact tracking, and general notification if there continues to be a shortage for tests or a long lag between getting tested and getting results? Basically, the district is currently working with local health agency to develop a support plan. We have worked with Lorraine County Public Health Department on procedures when someone is positive and the symptoms begin while at school. And that is currently on our website now under Lorraine County Health Department recommendations. And also we'll send out more information regarding that plan on Friday's update with our Reset and Restart. The district will follow all FERPA guidelines as well. We have to keep that in mind if a student contract COVID or if a student are suspected to have COVID. The plan will include notifications, testing information support, develop an isolation room in each school, possible telehealth conferences, and providing e-learning for any student while under quarantine. We have 2 health agencies in our area which can provide support for testing and medical diagnosis. We have reached out to health and dentistry and also Mercy Hospital to provide support in those areas. We're currently communicating with them to see how we can do that prior to school starting and they provide or support our schools. We also have Lorraine County Public Health Department provide nurses for our district as well. We'll work very closely with them on testing access and other issues. Testing availability can change based on COVID-19. When I received my test, it took 2 to 3 days, and that was due to a holiday. So they actually said within 2 days they could get a result back for me. So it was a quick swab, and I got a phone call from the health and dentistry within 3 days over the weekend, and they told me that it was negative. So I guess the availability of tests, depending on the crisis at hand with COVID, and depending on how much access we have with it. But I believe working with 2 agencies, health and dentistry, and also with the Mercy Hospital, I think we can develop a great plan with them to try to expedite that process. Apply to have students to distance learning. Are they still eligible for the CEC or LCC courses through LCC? Or it might be SDEV courses through LCC. Yes, we will still offer remote. LCC will be mostly remote to school this school year. Yes, they can participate in LCCC and IB courses if they go to e-learning opportunities. This is a great time for Oberlin and LCC to work together. We're actually currently working on an associate pathway for our students attending LCCC. If the hybrid model with students, in the hybrid model, will students be 6 feet apart? This is our goal. The district will have students 3 to 6 feet apart according to the health department guidelines. The hybrid models allows the 6 feet apart flexibility. So that's the best possible we can get further distance apart using a hybrid model for our students. Will students be allowed to eat outside or at home since this will be the time that they will not be wearing their masks? Could the school day be shorter? Currently, we are under certain amount of hours for school. State guidelines, OD have guidelines for us to have so many hours of contact for our students. Shortening the day, we have to rearrange that to also make sure we do our contact hours with our students. We are working on having lunch outside if possible. In some classrooms, also in some classrooms, open door facilities in the school, gym and cafeteria, and other options allow spacing. Most of our students will have assigned seats for lunch. Students will not be permitted to leave for lunch due to safety. With the hybrid model, it will limit the number of students participating in lunch, so it will allow flexibility for spacing. At the high school level, some of our students will have Phoenix privilege and only attend school for half a day. So Phoenix privilege is offered to students that have completed their academic requirements, so they may be able to leave early or come late during that day. I'm both a teacher in the school system and a mother of 2 children within Oberlin school system. My biggest concern with starting a school year with hybrid approach is that us teachers will be exposed at the same amount of students as we would in a regular school year. I see at least 80 students a day. If I were exposed to COVID-19, I would still be exposing all 80 students. Yes, COVID may not harm our younger peer population, but a lot of Oberlin students are being raised by elderly family members. Staff and students' safety is a priority for the district, always. The district has established procedures to decrease risk. All staff members will have safety equipment, maintain social distancing in and outside the classroom, and reinforce safety procedures with students as well. Staff will engage in professional development at the beginning of school year by a health professional. The district is looking into all cooling systems, changing filters. The health department will provide some recommendations in this area. Staff should provide mask breaks for all students to alleviate some of the tension with the mask in there. So we are working out a plan for safety for them, and we'll go over some training with them beginning of the year. The health department have arranged some recommendations. You'll see signs within the school. You also will see masks and shields provided for all teachers and all staff members at the same time. And one of the questions stated that are we considering moving school back to after Labor Day? And that's currently on the agenda right now. Will the school board be getting statistics from the college about the prevalence of COVID in the college student, faculty, staff communities? Has the school board considered starting remotely for a month to determine the impact of the influx of OC students and parents? The district has considered all options to start for a school for the 2020-21 school year. We'll monitor impact COVID-19 in the community and also with COVID-19 as well. We'll work with the Oberlin College and also work with the health department and also with Dr. Ambar as well. Currently now, the health department is actually working with and sharing information that they receive from Oberlin College as well. They shared with us research, different suggestions at the time. So we are communicating back and forth to monitor the OC students coming in. I know that OC also, Oberlin College, has made an aggressive effort to start testing with staff and students. So they're making attempts to try to minimize the risks for our staff, for their staff and students, also for the community as well. And LC, just make some options. Okay, I think that's, if I'm missing one, I think that's pretty much all the questions that we have.
Is there any discussion?
About the questions?
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody who submitted their questions. Appreciate Dr. Hall's careful answers. I think it's great to have the discussion.
Okay.
So I have a question, I guess, about we all submitted, our thoughts on this. Are those going to go into the minutes for the meeting?
I think the idea is that we talk about them now. I mean,
okay.
We definitely, just so that everybody knows, what has happened is each board member kind of shared what we were thinking about this, because this is such a complicated topic. And, we all have our own opinions. I don't know about the rest of the board members, but I know I have been having multiple conversations with community members, just especially parents, guardians, to find out what they're struggling with their kids, that have all informed our opinions. But, this is one of these situations where all of the answers are bad. There's just not something that is that golden ticket that is clearly the right thing to do. So the suggestion was that during this next section of the agenda, we share our thoughts so that we can all go through this together and kind of provide input on the perspectives that we've heard from the community and our own ideas that will help inform the decision to be made tomorrow about the path going forward for the district in the fall.
Do you want to start us off? We just go down, or everybody just, say something? How do we want to do this?
I'll start. And I think I would like to request, Bob, for my my written notes to go into the minutes. Just because I've shared them with everybody else on the board, I think they should be shared with the public. Not that I think there are any particular, depth, but I just, just for transparency, I'd like to ask that they be included. I think my biggest concerns are meeting the needs as best we can for single parents and for other guardians who rely on the schools for daycare. It's those students in many cases are going to be the ones that need our schools the most. And yeah, I don't, that's I also think that, we're just now beginning to see where we're probably going to be in 3 weeks. But it could be, could definitely be half of this community spread. It could be twice this community spread. But even half this community spread is a lot compared to other nations and what others are dealing with. What other nations have closed schools with far less community spread than we have here certainly as a nation.
Well,
Would anybody else?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll share. I tend to be a little verbose, so I'll apologize for that. But I think this is such a complicated issue that it's really important to take the time to think about the variety of concerns. So in my statement, which I also did send to Bob, exactly what I'm going to read here, and that is, we all acknowledge that there is no good answer to the situation. Requiring that all our children and employees return to the buildings is ludicrous given the state of the pandemic. We do not have adequate testing and tracing to ensure our ability to maintain a COVID-free environment. The problem is we also have students in our district, as Ken just pointed out, without an environment conducive to learning at home or who require specialized assistance to thrive. There are shortcomings with each of the proposed solutions. The question is, given our impossible situation, how do we keep our employees and students as safe as possible while maximizing educational opportunities? My goal is to allow us to have the flexibility to provide 100% online learning and the opportunity for on-site education for those students who need a place to attend and/or personal attention without jeopardizing our funding or requiring reductions in force. I'm in favor of the hybrid model. That's what the plan called Level 2, with a few clarifications and modifications. So to clarify, we can't bring our entire student body back on site, which if we could do that, that's what we would all want to do. But since we can't do it, we need to teach remotely, even if some of the students are in the same room. Teachers must design and deliver all their lessons electronically, and every student will need a Chromebook. This will ensure that each student has the same experience, with the added benefit that if we are required to go 100% remote at any time, the teachers will not need to modify their lessons. In addition to asking our teachers to recreate all of their lesson plans for digital delivery, there are several problems with 100% online learning, and we need to learn from the crash course we received in the spring, including we need to ensure that all the assignments are collected and graded on an ongoing basis to ensure students remain engaged with the learning process. Students should be given the opportunity for one-on-one conversations with their teachers on a routine basis, maybe something like every other week. They could be virtual or in person, though socially distanced, depending on the circumstances for each situation. Now I'm going to get into the modifications. We need to remove the requirement from the Level 2 description that students attend in person. For the safety of everyone, we should actively encourage students to attend 100% online. Even though delivery is happening electronically, we need to permit students who require personal attention to attend 5 days a week. IEP and 504 plans should provide some guidance for this cohort, but the district should offer this option for any student who needs our space, as long as we can staff the building. If a student opts to attend in person 2 days a week, rather than doing Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday, we should have it be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday to minimize exposure to additional people, provide more time for contact tracing in case of a positive test, and to allow more thorough cleaning between cohorts. For those who attend in person, they'll find a reduced number of students and employees in the building, so we should have the ability to practice social distancing. With all of this, even so, we still need to remain flexible. If needs develop mid-semester, we need to let students alter their plans. We also need to acknowledge that we might not be able to accommodate transportation needs if a student needs to change plans mid-semester. Can you mute yourself, whoever has the noise in the background? Thank you. Another modification. Teachers need to be able to teach from any location to accommodate their own health concerns. If a teacher is not in the classroom with the students that are there, other personnel need to be on site to proctor the kids who are present. Another modification, and we're dealing with some of this today. Each student in the district needs access to a laptop and Wi-Fi. We should add an outsourced help desk support service for teachers, students, and families to reduce technology frustration, and so our own technology team can focus on other priorities. I would suggest we bring on either volunteer or hired Zoom helpers to help facilitate the classroom spaces themselves so that teachers can focus on the lesson and not troubleshooting meeting issues. Since they're helping online, they don't need to be present in the building. So some of those tech savvy seniors at Kendall who are itching for something to do might be able to help step into that role. My final modification is that we should have a district service for socially distanced in-person check-ins with every family in the district at least twice a semester. I think the way JVS did it is they're using the resource officers and I think social workers that are going out to actually do on-site visits for everybody that attends. Got a few notes and then a last statement. So my hope is that this approach will meet all the requirements to maintain our federal funding, including food. We have heard the threat that if we don't open the schools, we're going to lose federal funding. That does include food, and that could be about $500,000. This approach should allow us to maintain jobs for our employees and potentially create temporary opportunities during a difficult economy. We need to have district-wide and individual school communication. It needs to be ongoing and clear throughout the entire altered year. We also need to have a vehicle for capturing and responding to concerns raised about delivery challenges from students, guardians, and employees. We have to be able to respond quickly to problems. So finally, I'll say it's imperative that we resolve this as quickly as possible to provide planning time for the specifics of delivery, including giving our teachers the opportunity to become more comfortable with the technology and prepare lessons designed for virtual delivery. We need them to identify opportunities for creative projects and lessons given the virtual delivery method. And so we can ensure that each student in our district has access to technology that will support online learning. In addition, our non-teaching employees' positions will need to be temporarily altered to cover increased or modified needs, such as additional cleaning, transportation, and mobile meals. Education will likely forever change after this experience. I hope we can approach this impossible situation with a mindset where we're looking to make the best of the opportunity rather than just surviving the problem. Let's ask the question, what can we do to help make this a great year for our children, and focus on what can be instead of what has always been. That's what I have.
Thanks.
Did anybody else want to go? I'll like save mine. I'll give an abridged version of mine at the end. But is there anybody else who would like to share their thoughts?
I'd like to share mine. I'm just going to summarize. I also wrote and emailed to the entire board my thoughts on what to do as far as reopening, and I'd like to have that added to the minutes as well. But right now I'm just going to kind of summarize what my thoughts were. And essentially, I am supportive of level 3, fully online and remote learning at this point. And with the exception or the caveat that I would ask that the district look into and collect data on those families, as Ken pointed out, that absolutely need to have the school buildings open for their children in order for them to be able to sustain their families and keep a roof over their head and be able to eat. We don't want this pandemic to create any greater strain on our families in our community who have limited resources. With that being said, I do believe that the safety of our children, our teachers, our staff, and the community should be put first and is the most important thing to be thinking about at this point. And given the little bit of research that I've done from watching the news and reading articles, I do believe that our region is not in a position right now where schools should be opened at the end of August or even after Labor Day. Given that our particular county has just been lowered from a level 3 to a level 2, that is something to take into consideration. But a level 2 in Ohio, according to the governor's guidelines, is still an increase in exposure and spread. And the governor pointed out when Lorain County was downgraded that it still hovered around a level 3. So we're not in a position right now where cases are decreasing at all, which is, I think, would be ideal. The ideal situation for us to open schools would be that the cases would be decreasing for the previous 2 weeks. We're not near there. I'm also concerned about what's going to happen as we move into the fall and the winter. If we do go back to in-person instruction, we may find another spike. As many of us have heard on the news, the CDC has been predicting a second wave. We're not even out of the first wave yet. And with flu season coming in the fall and the winter, it could really put a strain on our hospitals and really put a strain on our community with those folks who are dealing with coronavirus as well as the flu. So I'm very concerned about the uncertain nature of how this pandemic will continue to spread or whether it will decrease. We just don't really have a good handle on that right now. And then there's also the concern, there've been indications that small children are not impacted in the same way by the coronavirus, but the science is not clear on that. And so with such huge question marks looming over what's going to happen with this virus, I do not feel that it is a good decision right now, based on what we know today, to open up the schools to in-person instruction. So that's just a summary of what the basis for my thinking is. I do feel like with the plan that was put forward for reopen and restart, that the district has a better approach for online remote learning. I'm happy to hear that there will be Zoom instruction. I'm happy to hear that there will be teachers who will be providing guidance with even those options, those families who opt to go fully electronic. If we don't decide to go fully remote as a district. So I feel like we have plans in place in order to keep our community safe, our students safe, our teachers and our staff. For those students who limited families who need to have their children in the schools, I believe that's something that, there are already plans being discussed and that are being put in place to be able to keep them protected if they have to go into the school building. And I feel like for those families who can afford to have their children at home, operating at home, there's a plan in place to make sure that all of the students have the resources that they need in order to be successful for a fully remote start. And there's also a plan to revisit all of this, which I think is smart. And I think it will be in the midst of whatever's happening in the fall and the winter. And hopefully we'll have better information in order to make a more informed decision. So that's it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I guess I'll add mine in
Okay.
as well. I'll just go ahead and kind of read what I wrote. Coming from the perspective of having 3 kids, one in high school, one in middle school, one in elementary school, all kind of different learning styles, as well as kind of just my background in healthcare. So I guess if I had to choose today, I would probably opt for the level 3. Given that I feel like the infrastructure that needs to be in place to provide an excellent and equitable end product is kind of still in process. And I know that we all appreciate kind of everything and all the hard work that's been done into developing this restart plan. But I guess with my background in healthcare, and I think we all see this, safety ends up being paramount. Safety of our students, teachers, and staff are all at the forefront of the decision-making process. So this decision isn't taken lightly, but we have to make a decision. I guess we don't have the option of doing nothing or delaying, because the longer we wait, the less prepared the school and parents are going to be, and plans just have to be made. So we know that reopening schools in a way that maximizes safety, learning, the well-being of children, staff, and teachers will clearly require a proactive approach and innovative thought. We need testing within the school system, I believe, clear communication, and the means to reduce turnaround time. So this will provide us the ability to react appropriately with contact tracing and so on. But without it, I feel as though we're putting the health of our children, teachers, and community at risk. I feel like we all share the same goal of wanting children to return to school, in school. But we know that it has to be safe, and we know that we have to try to decrease transmission as much as we can. Both the American Academy of Pediatrics and the CDC, they release statements, but they're really only guidance statements, but not a decision. I think we have to allow science, statistics, and the uniqueness of our community to find a plan that works best for Oberlin. I think we are committed to doing everything we can so that all students have the opportunity to safely resume in-person learning. However, there are some things to consider. I think big on my list is going to be equity. Everything can't be the same amongst the different options, but we can try to provide equity. I think we have a tall order to ensure all children must be given the same opportunity to learn, regardless of format. This will require clear expectations from students and staff and teachers. We have to acknowledge that there are barriers to accomplishing this, and it will be likely greatest amongst the socially vulnerable. I think all families should be empowered to make the decision that is right for their circumstance. I think we also, as we all have said, we have to be flexible. We have to be prepared to adapt to this COVID-19 situation that we're in and accept that there will be more questions than answers. But we should also embrace a culture of excellence. So not just survive, but excel within this opportunity. That's what I want for Oberlin schools, and it should be woven into the fabric of the decisions that we make. As long as we are rooted and guided by safety, equity, science, and the many needs of our stakeholders, I have confidence that we can do this well.
Thank you all for your thoughts. And I'll share some of mine. I'll just do like a bridge version with bullet points. So we have examples around us. For example, a lot of summer camps. You know, there was an article that discussed how they bring an ominous warning in test runs for schools where you know had students and staff infected with COVID-19. There was an article that came out approximately 2 weeks ago, week and a half to 2 weeks ago, that talked about the increasing number of children who are infected and hospitalized. Again, this is very new. A lot of children weren't impacted the first time because they were quarantined, they were in the house. And so now we're seeing a spike in infections and hospitalizations with our youth. Also, Lorain County, we're right next to Cuyahoga County, very transient population. Cleveland is one of the 11 cities that the White House warns need to take aggressive action in the fight against COVID-19. Again, we have a lot of, there's a transient population, people who live in Cuyahoga County, work in Lorain County, people live in Lorain County, work in Cuyahoga County, friends, relatives, visiting, all of that. And another thing that adds to Oberlin's uniqueness is that we're the only district in the county with Oberlin College. And so regardless of whatever protocols and preparation that the college takes, there will be an influx of bodies in the district. And so just to minimize contact points, that would be a good thing. And again, everybody touched on, problems of equity within this community. However, I feel that Oberlin is small enough and dynamic enough to make this work. If we were to go to and also I'm supporting fully remote online learning. So if we were to go to that, I feel that this community is small enough and dynamic enough that we can troubleshoot that. I feel that the brain power of our teachers and administration need to go towards resolving those issues. Additionally, I've had several educators, retired educators from Kendall, as well as college students reach out about virtual tutoring and other virtual enrichment. Additionally, we have just people here in the community with all types of backgrounds. I know one of the substitute teachers for the district has a math background. Another one that I talked to has a chemistry background. And I would love to see us develop some type of online learning centers. So for those who need extra help, they can maybe have a Zoom session with a tutor or with a teacher or someone like that. And again, just learning from the springtime. I understand this was very new to everybody, and teachers and administration adapted as best as they can. But we should take those lessons and apply it now, because if we're preparing our students for 21st century skills, this is where it begins. Whatever issues that need to be addressed, I'd rather our teachers and admins use their brainstorming, use their brain power to find solutions to address this. And so, yeah, I'm in support of fully remote, and I just don't feel that. I think we've done a good job, but I definitely feel the infrastructure isn't fully in place, and use this moment as and take this, and this could be a huge learning opportunity for all of our staff and families and children in the district. So those are my thoughts. Any other comments from anybody? No. Okay.
Can we hear from David and Bob about any considerations they have? Because I've heard all 5 board members say that we all feel like online instruction is the way the Oberlin district should be moving forward, with slight nuances in how to handle the equity issues. And but I definitely am interested in, now that David and Bob have heard that, what are their reactions? I mean, they're the ones that know the policies inside and out and the implications that we could have on our employees and how it works with the unions.
My opinion is that torn between the two, either level 2 or level 3, both from the same time are good plans. And also we had collaboration with, I'd like to thank our teachers and our committee who helped develop these 3 plans as well. We had about 35 staff members come and engage through remote and also on site to participate in the process. We passed out a survey to the community. We had about 64.1% say that they were in favor of coming back to school. So we had 39.5% say they like the remote piece, and 24.6% stated that they like to see the full day attendance. We had 476 responses to the survey that passed out of district, about 100 students. We have a pretty good sample of input from community members. I think we're prepared to go the level 2 piece with 2 days on and 2 to 3 days remote, and offering the option of the e-learning piece as well for the students. Who knows what the governor's going to do in that time period? He may even August 15th off of the 16th may say, hey, we're going to level 3. But I think some of the parents and some of the community members that I've spoken to that, you know, they do like to have that piece where they have face-to-face or students in school. And I think, you know, that's critical for a lot of our kids and for them as well. Also the impact, we also have an impact on staffing as well on level 3. So that's gonna have to be an impact as well. So, sorry, Ann.
Go ahead, Ann.
Well, I was just asking if, like, what kinds of concerns might we have with, I realize we have great staff, both in teachers and the rest of the staff in the district, but whatever we do, we need people. I mean, clearly, if teachers are doing these lessons that they've been working on their entire lives, all of a sudden uprooting their worlds and creating them for virtual, that's a massive change. If we have bus drivers that are having to deliver meals or packets or whatever, or people doing wellness checks, you know, we're changing people's jobs. And I know that people have been very flexible with MOUs and just kind of creative, like pitching in to do what needs to be done. But are we going to run into problems actually being able to deliver on what we need to have done, like having people proctor rooms where a teacher can't be there because they have health concerns or whatever the situation is? So they're teaching remotely.
I guess clarify the question, Anna. If the teacher teach remotely, will they have level 3? Will they have concerns?
No, I'm saying if it's level 2,
Mhm.
but a teacher has health concerns and so they can't be in the room. So that would mean we'd have to have somebody else in the room while the teacher's teaching from a place where they can maintain their health.
There may be a lot of options. Like I present a scenario of some of our students e-learning. You may have 20 students, like right now, currently we had 20 students in 6th grade that's possible doing e-learning. So the teachers could stay on that team. They know another teacher is having medical conditions. Maybe that teacher right there will do the remote learning piece. We have a great staff that understand each other and pretty much go work together to say, understand that, hey, maybe we could rearrange things within our staff community to say we can accommodate this person, that person. And they've always done that with a teacher going out, somebody else will come in and do something with them. But, you know, we pull together as a staff at the end of the day. And those are some options too as well. If we have 15 kids at one grade level, they just may say, oh, fine, we'll just have you do this and we'll just worry about this other part.
Right. Okay. Jason, what were you going to say?
So yeah, a couple things. One, what is planned for those students because they're only attending 2 days out of the week? And so those other 3 days, what happens then? Because the parents, for those who are in that, position where they still have to work or, absolutely need some help if their child's at special needs or whatever the situation may be, what's going on those other 3 days? And then also, how are you determining who comes to school? So say, because you mentioned the survey where it was 60 something percent who were in favor of coming to school or doing the hybrid piece. So say out of that, with 1,000 kids in our district, say 800 decide to return. What happens then? Is there some type of criteria to determine who comes to school? Is it like a certain number? Is it going to be capped at a certain number? So those are my two questions. So what are kids and parents are expected to do those other days? And what's the determining factor in allowing kids in school for those 2 days?
For those 2 days while they're off, we're working with community members and also different agencies to develop remote learning sites for the students as well, just for academic support. So those 2 days you may have, we have a couple meetings with different areas within a community local to them, very spread out throughout the community. So they would go there if they need help with an English assignment, need help with a math assignment. We may have people there to help them out during that time period to provide support for those students. Because they'll be doing some Google Classroom activities, and we want to make sure they're successful, provide that support for them. And even during the day, I believe that Langston did a great job of providing their schedule. They're working on a schedule where they actually have Zoom hours for students to provide support during that time period too, or maybe some of those off days. So those are just some things that teachers pull together and say, okay, fine, if they are on these off days, how can we provide support for them? But they're working out schedules where they're pulling together, say, hey, maybe we can do a support system for them that way. Maybe we can provide online calling, or maybe we can have, like you mentioned before about Kindle or some other people in the community that want to provide some tutorial support. We can offer math tutorial support between hours of 9 and 12 and one of remote sites for them. And answer your other question of will the community, that I think that will help the community out. How we divide the students up, we'll look at the alphabet system, and also based on maybe A through I will go that one day or those 2 days and divide them up. Maybe the rest of the alphabet go next day with considerations for siblings and consideration for, there's always other variables out there where a parent may come in and say, hey, Johnny has to go with this kid right here or whatever. So we'll divide them up that way and work with the classrooms. With the hybrid model, you'll probably have, I imagine, between 10, 11 kids in a classroom. So you will have some more individualized attention there for the students at the same time and a bit of more spacing. But the community has reached out already to provide remote sites. We have a meeting with about 6 agencies next week or the week after to start working with these remote sites, which either way, at level 2 or level 3, we need to offer the remote tutorial sites for our students.
And one more question. So if we're able to do that for those 3 days that they aren't in school, is that something that's possible to say do for all 5 days if we were to go fully remote and just coordinate the learning centers, the tutors, volunteers, or whoever it may be with the teachers and the curriculum for specific grade levels?
I'm not sure if the teachers are, and that's something we have to negotiate with them and talk to them about. I'm not sure if we go all remote in level 3, they're going to be coming in doing a tutoring during that time period, because technically, it's cautious with that too as well. We want to make sure that if we establish tutoring sites, we need to make sure they're clean, make sure they're somebody's coming in to spray them down, make sure all these precautions are done with the tutorial sites. The caution I have, just a caveat with the tutorial sites, are we want to make sure they're our school system designated sites, because if not, then if suppose another person want to open up a site for tutoring and some kid or for 4 or 5 kids to come in, we're going to make sure our tutorial sites are clean thoroughly. We're going to make sure ours have shields. Some other tutorial sites may not have that. So we need to make sure our tutorial sites are done efficiently throughout the community. And we need to notify our community what are Oberlin City Schools tutorial sites. To answer that question, I'm not sure if teachers, if we go full remote 5 days a week, will they have time to come in to do those tutorial sites, to do tutoring at time period? Or is that an option for them? That's something I'll have to discuss with the union on the same time. And I never discussed that.
And so just for clarity, anytime like when I like talk about like the learning centers or, you know, as you said, like the tutorial sites, I'm thinking, you know, all remote. So maybe it's a, you know, TV set up in the center and, you know, a tutor is, you know, on the screen or the kids are, you know, tuning in from home or something like that. But just, you know, I don't know. I just think, again, like innovative thinking, outside the box thinking, you know, we're small enough where this district is small enough where we can make something like that work, you know, a coordinated effort. Again, you know, several people from the community, you know, parents, retired educators, you know, people with, you know, particular specialization in some field, you know, have reached out, you know, about offering some type of virtual tutoring or enrichment program. And, you know, that along with, say, you know, 2-3 hours of Zoom session from their teacher, coupled with some enrichment activities and, you know, virtual tutoring sessions, I, you know, personally, you know, I feel that can work. But again, I would like to have the, you know, the teachers and admins use their brain power on finding solutions to those problems. So, oh, and Bob, did you have anything you want to add?
I would just say, when you go into some instructional pieces, you're looking at background checks and so on and so forth for some of these people coming in with our kids, especially in an area. So there may be some other issues that we have to iron out before that happens. Definitely requirements for them to be with the students. And I think some of our students at 64.1%, a lot of our students need that face-to-face instructional time where they're actually meeting with someone and not a screen time with someone. I think our parents want their students achieve better when they have that piece. And some of these things, like you stated before, is we have to work with the union on whether they want their teachers sitting our teachers remote sites. We have to make sure it's a safe in the school system. I can make sure, you know, we're cleaning, we have our cleaners, we have everything there set for them. We have to make sure those are safe sites for them to go to before they actually go there. And if we have other community members coming in as well, we just have to make sure there are designated sites with cleaners coming in and doing these things.
So that's what's making my head begin to spin a little bit here. I mean, we can control the space when it's ours. And so we can have far more faith in our ability to maintain some level of control when it's our workers cleaning it, when we're making the partitions, when we're just saying, yeah, this is 6 feet apart, or you know, I'm beginning to think that, you know, maybe the community part of this is manpower. So background checks, all that still is in effect, but it's happening in our space by our rules. And I think that, you know, the concerns that I heard us all state about being able to maintain a healthy environment for these precious gifts that we are trying to educate, and our employees and the people who we have, I don't see how we can do that. How we can maintain enough control.
And I guarantee there will be there's a risk, and even the health department will tell you quickly that you know, there's try to minimize as much risk as possible. Right. You're right. But to bring them in, we would have to work out whether some kind of system for them to get support, and to bring them into the school. That's a question where we bring them into school if teachers are teaching remotely from the school. Then we're bringing more bodies into the school, which is, if we're saying it's unsafe at level 3,
Yep. Yep.
so we're bringing more
Yep.
people to school, and they're going to feel this unsafe for them as well. So it's 22.
Anybody have that magic wand? Can we hear from Bob about some of the financial and contract, et cetera, issues?
I mean, really, it's up in the air. I mean, the federal funds, who knows if they'd ever pull them or not pull them. If DeWine says that we are totally remote, then I don't see any federal funds being lost. But just reading the statistics of all the surveys that we've done, the teachers and the community feel face-to-face. We need to find a way to make face-to-face as safe as possible. Other than that, I mean, financially, you guys have been great stewards of the community's money, and we're lucky that we have that ability right now to get us through this. But other than that, I mean, that's really the viewpoint. The discussions I was in with the 35 teachers was very, especially for the K through 5, was that they need face-to-face time on a weekly basis. And how do we do that in the safest mode possible? And that's what you ensure the administration team to do, is come up with a plan that will work, and keeping kids apart, teaching them the new norm of education is what it's all about. And that's part of being a member of the community, is helping everybody to say, this is, you have to take not only your own opinion, but everybody else's safety in making those decisions of how you react to situations.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention too, as from the teachers union side too, they did administer a survey on their own for OEA, and just some information. So Robin would like for me to share it as well. We have about 75.4% supported level 3 and 24.6% supported level 2. But we also had 66.2% stated that would you feel safe returning to school implementing the level 2 instructional model. 66.2 and 33.8% said no, they wouldn't support the level 2 models. Pretty consistent with our parent survey information data that we came back with.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Those numbers again? Could you gave 2 sets of numbers? The first one,
66.
majority. Okay, go ahead.
If they had to do level 2, 66.2% said yes, they would do level 2. They're really going level 2 and come back. And 33.8% said no for that. The 66.2%, over half, said yeah, they're ready to roll with number 2 if I'm a hybrid model.
And then what was the first one you gave, about a 70-something% who agreed with level 3? What was that again?
75% said a level 3, 24.6 said level 2. If you
75 level 3.
Yeah, but also there's more data in there. Are you higher risks of COVID due to age? 83.3% said no. Are you higher risks at COVID due to underlying health concerns? 62.3% said no as well.
Okay, so again, I'm sorry, I'm just trying, like, for my understanding, what were the 2 surveys? One survey specifically dealt with level 3, and then another survey specifically dealt with level 2.
Level 1 and level 2. 71% said level 1, no for level 1.
Okay, so with the first one, how many agree? What was the percent? You said 75% agreed with the level 3.
Yes.
And the level 3 is the fully remote.
Yes.
Okay. And then you said the other one was 66.2 of the teachers agreed with the level 2 hybrid model.
Yes.
Was there any discussion about, because those 2 seem to contradict each other?
Yeah.
Was there any discussion or explanation for why those 2 surveys appear to contradict each other?
I guess,
If I heard it, it didn't seem contradictory to me. It sounded like 75%, correct me if I'm wrong, but 75% of the teachers want to go level 3, but 66% of the teachers are willing to go level 2, if that's what we say. But there's 34% of the teachers who are saying, no, I don't feel safe. I'm not coming into the classroom. Is that correct, Dr. Hall?
yes. It's saying 75, the questions are separate. So you have to ask them, which one would you like to do, level 2 or level 3? So if you had a choice between those two, they prefer the level 3 over level 2. If you ask, how do you feel do you feel safe returning to school and implementing level 2 instructional model? Over half of them, 66.2% say, yeah, they'll come to school, they'll do level 2, they'll provide instruction, they'll do what necessary to be done with level 2, and they'll come into school with it. But if you had a choice between level 2 and level 3, 75% said, look, you know what, I prefer to do level 3 to do that piece.
Thank you.
And that was administered from WOEA as well. So we administered those surveys and also one with the parents as well. So.
Okay, is there any other discussions, questions? Okay, so action items.
Board of action items, we have board action items, remove the first day of schools from first day, student day, from Monday 31st, 2020 to after Labor Day. Board item, action item A.
So moved.
Is that a date? Or is this just sort of general sometime after Labor Day? Yeah. Is there a specific date we're targeting or?
So I'll clarify because I moved, but what we said was that we didn't want to say September 8th because we wanted to give Dr. Hall and Bob the flexibility to adjust that, because I know how complicated the school schedule gets as far as when we have to have the scheduled days off and the getting the number of hours in. So if it needed to be the Tuesday, then it would be the Tuesday. But if it made more sense to have it be Wednesday, give them that flexibility.
Thanks, that's helpful.
I guess also, would that mean that this, I'm sorry, would that mean that the school year would be extended?
No, if we start shortly after Labor Day, we have enough hours to accommodate that because we go extra hours now. So it should be okay.
So I wanted to second the motion, and we've kind of already started the discussion. And so my question for clarification on the discussion that we started is, are we saying that it would definitely be within that week after Labor Day? Is that correct?
I think so.
Yeah,
That's my understanding.
Yeah, we're hoping it'd be within that week there. But I'm not sure what the governor is going to do or what the decree, but we're hoping that week will start up.
Yeah, but I'm speaking just more in terms of what this motion is saying. So after Labor Day doesn't mean September 29th, as we are representing it in this motion. That's what I'm trying to get clarification on.
The motion's open. It doesn't state what a day after Labor Day is going to start. The motion that we're going to stay in school because the calendar states now we have to approve it. We have to do 31st, I believe August 31st. This is just a motion to say, hey, the superintendent, treasurer will start after Labor Day sometime and not the 31st.
The rationale also behind the motion was that we wanted to provide ample opportunity for additional PD. If there is need for whether it's Zoom or Kahoot or other tools that are going to help with successful delivery in an alternate manner. we want to make sure that there is time for that. But, we have to know what are we doing level 2? Or are we doing level 3? Nobody's talking about level 1. So if we're doing level 2 or level 3, then we have to have the plan in place for what that's going to look like. And there could be training that's necessary.
And by PD, do you mean public discussion?
Professional development for our
Oh,
teachers. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yep.
what that meant.
Yeah. Sorry. Too many abbreviations.
And also in doing this, we talked about we have to get computers in all the kids' hands if it is level 3 and make sure that the hot spots are set up and working. So we don't want to start school on that Tuesday if 40 students don't have computers and hotspot and internet. It's not fair to them.
I think they all have to have their computers, even if we do level 2, because with level 2, they're at home or at some alternate site
You're right.
for a week. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that was the discussion, and it was Ann who moved it, Ms. Sham who moved it, and Ms. Sameka who seconded, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that was discussion. Call the roll.
Ms. Sameka,
Yes.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Sham,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes. All right, superintendent items.
Item A is rural business equipment to purchase additional Chromebooks, support the need for the level 2 and level 3 for students to have additional computers. Item B is Verizon quote for hotspots to provide additional hotspots for equity and for students access if needed. According to our survey, we had 97.7% that had internet and had technology access. So we'd have to go through to see if we can utilize this for them. Request approval of item A through B, superintendent items.
So moved.
Second.
So I think Jason had a very good observation earlier today about the cost. Jason, you want to talk about your message with Steve?
Yes, and so where is it though? Okay. Yeah, so for the Verizon hotspots, I discovered that T-Mobile was offering the same amount of hotspots for more than half off of this quote for Verizon. However, after speaking with Steve, he settled on Verizon because of the accessibility for it. There are parts in Oberlin, and as a T-Mobile customer, I can confirm this, that the internet connection is splotchy, if that's a word. And so so I thought we was getting a better deal. I was trying to find us a better deal for the district, but some of the families that would require the hotspots are situated where there is no T-Mobile coverage, or there is very little coverage, and Verizon has better coverage. So that was
His other point was supply, right? That he feels sure that we can actually get the 30 hotspots from Verizon, but if we push this out to look at other vendors, that we might not be able to get them in time.
Yeah.
I know in the manufacturing world, everybody's supply chains are messed up. So especially getting delivery of technological things, you can run into problems.
And the other thing I learned from Steve today, and that all these spots, none of these are actually in Oberlin, or essentially none, because these are places that aren't serviced by the cable co-op. We're also providing help for a lot of families to get service through cable co-op. So these are places out in the surrounding areas that are less likely to have T-Mobile coverage, perhaps.
Since you brought that up, Ken, and that's a very good point, we need to make sure that people in the community who want to donate for supporting the cable co-op work know how to do that. I've already had one request come through asking to whom they should write a check.
What's the answer?
So I think I'm right in saying that last year it went through Oberlin Community Services, but they don't want to do it this year. And so what I suggested to the person who asked me was to write it to the schools with a note designating it to be used for technological support. And it could be directed to cable co-op then if that was where the support was needed. I don't know if that's the right answer though.
Defer that to Bob. Possible.
I'll have to check with Cable Co-op to see if they're willing to do that. I'm not sure the district can put it in our name, because that's why the grant went to the community service, because they didn't want the school district writing out the check. So I will check with them, and if not, it could help to pay for one of the hotspots, and we service them through a hotspot.
Right. Well, we just need to make sure that we get whatever that determination is and get that communicated out, because I know there are people in the community who want to support.
I will get with Steve and we'll put something out there on the webpage.
Thank you.
All right. That was the discussion, and we moved and seconded, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Call the roll.
Miss Emeka,
Yes.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Shum,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes. All right. Motion to move to executive session to consider the employment, dismissal, or compensation of a public employee or official.
I'll make that motion with no business to follow.
Seconds.
All right. So we
Call the
will.
roll.
Oh yeah, call the roll.
Miss Emeka,
Yes.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley, Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Shum,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
But just before we go into executive session, I just want to thank Dr. Hull and all the teachers and everybody who's worked so hard on all this. Yeah, this is well above and beyond what anybody was expecting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. So thank you, Ken, for that. And so everybody that's watching, we will be back.
Are we just coming back here to close the meeting then?
Yes, we have to come
Yes.
back to close the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we will take no action.
No action.
Hey, Farah, you should have a calendar invite from Dr. Hall for the executive session.
I think he had us all come in muted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful out there, Ken.
I was trying to show you there's a mama moose. There was a mama moose right off that deck. I was trying to show it to you, but it just doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, I see it. Definitely. Yep.
Baby moose. Mama and the baby right there. Anyway, so I got a little bit distracted. Sorry about that. It does not happen, by the way. That's the first time.
It's usually squirrels that are distracted.
Yeah, moose a little
Nice.
bigger.
Yeah.
And
So is this,
Sorry, did you set out food for him, Ken?
no.
Okay.
Put the food out. The Grizzlies come.
Well, yeah, true.
oh man.
I'm a city kid, so hey, I set out food for the deer.
Okay, motion to move to close executive session and return to regular session.
And adjourn.
I'm sorry,
And
And
adjourn.
and adjourn.
And adjourn the meeting.
Right.
Oh, and adjourn the meeting. So motion to move to close executive session and return to regular session and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Miss Ameka,
Yes.
Dr. Regis,
Yes.
Dr. Stanley,
Yes.
Ms. Shum,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming and giving us your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Thank you.
Dr.
Good
Hall,
luck,
you've done a great
everybody.
job.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.